may the words of my mouth and the meditations of our hearts be acceptable in your sight, O Lord. Jesus has fed 5,000 people. And then when they began to realize what had happened, they whispered among themselves, why don't we make him our king? Well, why not, you see? They would never have to worry about food again. If he could take 5 loaves and 2 fish and feed all this many people, well, we wouldn't have to work. He could just do our bidding with a simple prayer. But Jesus, realizing what they were about, snuck away, went up into the hills. They couldn't find him. He was not about to become anybody's king. He was not to be controlled any more than God can be controlled. And so the only place he was going to be king was on the cross. When nighttime came, his disciples got into the boat and began to row across the Sea of Galilee. A great wind started. Waves were threatening the boat. And then, in the distance, they see Jesus walking toward the boat. Of course, they're frightened. Nobody can walk on water. But Jesus comes to them and he says, don't be afraid. It is I. And when he gets into the boat, they find themselves at the land. Now, the people have wondered what happened to him, and they decided to also go back to Capernaum, where, lo and behold, they find Jesus. And they ask the question, how did you get here? When did you get here? But Jesus does not answer their question. Rather, he says, you are coming after me because I fed you, because you were part of the 5,000 and you saw this great miracle. Instead of looking for food to keep the body intact, look for food that endures to eternal life. You know, we can easily understand why these people were so enamored with Jesus and feeding of this many people. It was a hard life, and they had to scrounge for what they got. All of us today eat 3 meals a day. It's part of who we are. We look forward to the next meal. It gives us the energy, and we're able to continue. Not all of us eat the same. Some of us eat a lot. Some of us eat only a little bit. Some of us will eat meat. Others will only eat vegetables. Some will be on a diet. Others won't. Some years ago, my cousin from Germany was visiting me. And at that time, he was into bodybuilding. I don't know if he ever entered any contest, but he was very well built, going to the gym every single day. And he said to me at the time, you know, I eat between 6,000 and 7,000 calories a day. Well, if you and I ate that much, we'd be big as balloons. But he needed this amount of calories in order to sustain the job that he was doing, to sustain the lifting of the weights. My son has been on this keto diet since January. It's a low carbohydrate, high fat diet. And since January, he's lost over 50 pounds. He's a new person. And so, you know, we eat, but we all eat differently. We eat what we need. If we take that, though, figuratively, looking at food figuratively, we strive now to get that into our lives that's going to make our lives better, perhaps more meaningful. And so we'll move from one job perhaps to another job. It will pay more. We'll be able to live a little bit better, get some of the things that we would like to have. But you know, I don't know about you, but it makes me wonder at times, because there are people who have all the money in the world. They can buy a couple of houses, they can buy the finest cars, they can go on whatever vacations they want to get. And yet, it seems that these people are unhappy. How many of them end up using drugs? And we say, why? You can do anything you want. Why do you need to fill your body and your mind with drugs? And yet, even with all of their wealth, they're not happy people. And they seek something else. There are others, and we read about it all too often. The name Robin Williams came to mind this week, who, even though they have the world at their fingertips, end up committing suicide. And we scratch our heads and we can't figure out why. What's wrong? Don't you find satisfaction in what you have? But there's a problem, you see. I don't know if any of you know the name Jack Higgins. He's a novelist. One of the novels he wrote was Eagle Has Landed. And at one point, he was asked this question: is there anything that you would have wanted to know as a boy that nobody told you? And he said, yes. He said, I would have liked to have been told that when you get to the top, there is nothing there. When you get to the top, there is nothing there. If all you're looking for, you see, is the food that's going to sustain this body, then there's not going to be anything there. We need to look further. I read something on my phone early in the week. I was looking at some of the news reports, and somehow this came up. I didn't pay too much attention to it at the time, although later on in the week I said, hey, I could use that maybe. A woman spoke about her relationship with her husband. We had an argument, a bad one. He didn't talk to me. I didn't talk to him. He had supper by himself. I then went in and had supper. We avoided each other. We didn't look at each other. When we went to bed, he slept as far over as he could on his side of the bed, and I slept as far over on my side of the bed. That was Sunday. Monday was the same thing. He went off to work, I went off to work. We came back, still, there was nothing. There was a wall, a brick wall. Worse than that, there was the wall built of steel, and then there was insulation, and then there was a brick wall. Nothing was going to penetrate that wall from one to the other. Tuesday, he went off to work, I went off to work. And mid-morning, my phone dinged, indicating I had received a text. And I looked at the text, and she said, here was a message. I love you. And all of a sudden, that steel and brick came tumbling down. Because that's what is really important. He had written her a brief note, but it had broken through the barriers so that they could then continue. This is what's important, you see. This is what gives us vitality in life. I had a friend who, some years ago, was planning on retiring down south. He had about 9 more months in his job, and he and his wife were going to close up the house here and down south. It was August, and they were talking in the kitchen, and all of a sudden his wife collapsed. She died right there. An aneurysm had taken her life. The doctors kept her alive by machine for several weeks, but in the end they said, you know, there's no brain activity. We have to stop. He was totally distraught. He didn't know what to do. They had had such a good relationship for many years, raised a couple of children. They were planning this future. Now it was all for naught. Well, when the springtime came, he decided he was still going to follow through. He moved down south, bought a house, and he even exhumed her casket and had that moved to a cemetery not terribly far from where he was living. And he went there every day. Every day he went to the cemetery, to the gravesite. For a year, for 2 years, for 3 years. It was sad. He had no desire to live. And then one day, out of desperation, he decided to make a call to one of these dating services. Put some money down, and they said that they would give him 3 names of women over the next 6 months. So he said, fine. He got the name of the first woman, called her up. They decided to have a date. They got together and they hit it off. They had another date. And they kept seeing each other. 2 months went by, and the dating agency called them and they said, we want to give you the second name now. And he said, wait a minute, I haven't finished with the first name yet. As it turned out, a year or so later, they decided to get married. I went down, I was part of the ceremony, and I talked to her grown son, and he said, you know, I've never seen my mother so happy. The two of them had just a whole new life. Did he miss his first wife? Of course. But here now he was finding what really mattered, and he knew what really mattered. It was the love of someone else. And it's still going strong to this day. We know what we need, you see, between each other. It's the same thing that we need between us and God. As we need love between one another to give us the bread that really nourishes us, so we need that bread from God. We don't know who God is or how God works or anything except through Jesus. God is somewhere out there, but in Jesus, he's become part of our world. There were people who saw him. They saw how he acted. They said, this is how God acts. And they saw the love that he extended to people. And how he said, when I am on the cross, I will draw all people to myself. Because it was on the cross that they could see how deep the love of God was for us. We can't fully understand it, but we believe that it's here that our sin is forgiven, it's swallowed up, and Jesus is there at our death also to catch us, to say, you belong to me, you're mine. Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden. I will give you rest. And so again, in our gospel, he tells us, I am the bread of life. He is the bread of life because he is the life of God, extending himself to us, so that we may be filled with what's missing, so that we may have something that carries us on and lifts us up, gives us a satisfaction that we're not going to get anywhere else. Whoever comes to me will never be hungry. Whoever believes in me will never be thirsty. Because it is his presence that fills us with what we need. Fills us with the love of God. And that makes our lives whole. Amen. The peace of God, which passes all understanding, keep your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. Our next hymn is 658.